ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Don't Revive Your Friends podcast. I'm SJ, and alongside me, as always, who do I have?
Hangtime.
Hangtime. Hey, what do they call you, Hangtime?
I'm the only one who gave myself this nickname. I'm kind of like Swaggy P. If you're not familiar with who that is, it's Nick Young from the NBA. He gave himself a nickname, so apparently you're not allowed to do that, but I did that anyways. It's from the game NBA Hangtime. It's one of my favorite games of all time, so that's where I got the name from.
Self-appointed nickname.
Yeah, don't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how that flies in the real world, but we're in the video game world, and I guess here you can do whatever you want. So no judgment, Hangtime.
Hooray!
And today, ladies and gents, we're going to be talking about video games, our favorite subject here, and games we're kind of looking forward to this year. As we were going over the list, would you say there's a plethora, or maybe some games, maybe?
Not a huge amount, to be perfectly honest. But that being said, maybe there'll be a lot more announced that I'm like really, really looking forward to. I mean, sure, there's a lot that have caught my attention, but I think there's just like a handful that I like really want to give a shot this year, along with kind of the backlog of games that I want to finally get through, which is another thing that we're going to be talking about as well. It's just kind of that backlog that we want to try to tackle.
Quick question: How big's the backlog?
It's huge. It's a pretty big backlog, to be honest. But I think a lot of it I could probably just rule out of stuff I'm never going to play. So it's a pretty, like, I think out of like the probably like 30 games in the backlog that I should probably play, I think like 10 of them I'm probably going to actually play, which I'll do a handful of those.
Got it. I not to brag here, but I have way too many games that maybe I'll look at and go, I want to play this, and then never even download. Ever.
Plus you have Game Pass too.
Yeah, I have Game Pass, yeah, but like I have purposely spent money on a game with full intentions to play, and then have never actually played it.
Or started it, put like an hour into it, and you're like, I'll get back to it.
Yeah, like, oh, this was pretty cool. And then went back to something else and forgot about it. And then I was like, I need to delete something. Yeah, maybe I'll play this later. And then years go by and it's sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's kind of like those unplayed with toys from Toy Story, which now makes me sad saying that out loud.
Right.
These games are lonely.
I have seen that movie, by the way.
Okay. All right. So you've seen one children's movie.
I've seen every good Rocky movie probably 3 times over.
What's your favorite Rocky movie?
Probably 4. I like the Drago scenes. It's really cheesy, but it's like cheesy in a good way. You can't beat the roid head,
I do like 4. I'm a sucker for the original, not gonna lie.
Yeah, the OG one's really, I mean, that's probably the best one. Like if you're like a movie critic, number 1's definitely the best. Maybe those Creed remakes. I haven't seen the newest one. Some of those Creed remakes are pretty good. But I think 4 is just like in my opinion, like the definition of the 80s.
Yeah. And speaking of I just started watching Creed 1 and 2. Because the first time I watched Creed was on a plane.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember it. Like I passed out on the plane and I started watching it again. I was like, this is actually a really good movie. So the first Creed I just finished is great. So I'm on to the second one now because Creed 3 just came out and I want to watch it. And I like Michael B. Jordan. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know how they got Michael Jordan in it. Isn't he like busy with the Hornets or something?
Anyways, so the games we're looking forward to this year, we got a few. There's a few on my list, and I'm going to go ahead and jump into one. Some may have heard of this. I'm not too sure. The Suikoden remaster. So Suikoden 1 and 2 are getting a remaster treatment, and they're coming out sometime this year. It was rumored to be March, and has not had a release date yet, but it is coming out this year. And I'm really, really freaking excited for this because Suikoden 1 and 2 were games that I played growing up, and they're my favorite RPGs of all time. Both of them. 1 and 2 are in my top 2 spots, which is crazy. So once Google became a thing, I would actually search for Suikoden like almost every day, nonstop, to find out any news. Are they making another one? Are they going to re-release these ones on a different platform? And there was nothing. So I've been searching for like 20 years.
Damn, that's a long time.
Yeah. So they're finally coming out, and like I almost cried tears of joy to see that they're finally getting here. So really, really excited.
Would you recommend, having never played a Suikoden game, would you recommend waiting until this remaster comes out, or should I try the first two on like an emulator?
You can wait. It's been 20 years, so if you haven't played it since, or at all, I think you can wait. They're fantastic either way. They still hold up. The first one's inventory system is a little bit wonky and very bare bones because it was 1996. But better games, hot take here, better games than Final Fantasy VII. Both of them.
Whoa,
so they came out
shots
around
fired.
the same time. Yeah. People are going to burn me. But very, very good. And I do recommend them. So if they said, well, we're going to release this December, I would say go ahead and play them now.
Now I was at a retro game store over the weekend, and I found Suikoden 5, I believe, for the PS2.
Mm-hmm.
It was like $200. Is that one any good?
Never played any past two.
What kind of a fan are you? You're Googling it every day and you haven't played the other games in the series?
The first two. So here's the reason why they made the switch from 2D to 3D. Right?
What do you have against 3D?
It just looked terrible. You've seen Final Fantasy VII now, right? That's how Suikoden 3 looked to me. I was like, this looks weird. Like, I don't
Polygons,
like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the Suikoden that I'm used to. I mean, it was fine. It wasn't as dismal as Final Fantasy VII looks.
Mm-hmm.
But it just wasn't the same style. It wasn't the same, like, battle and stuff like that. I played a little bit of it. I just never really got into it. So... $200 worth it? I would say no for any video game at this point.
Yeah, it was a little expensive, but I'm assuming it's a pretty rare game to come across, so that's why it was at such a high price point. Are the first two expensive as well if you were to buy the original copies?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the first one's going for around that. At least the second one is for sure $300, $400 for it, and I still have mine. So come fight me if you want it, I guess.
I mean, I would definitely take on a fight against someone who Googles Suikoden 1 and 2 every day.
That's probably fair.
I could probably win that fight. Now,
fair.
me on the other hand, I'm more so like an NBA fan, so I'm Googling, like, what team will Beasley be on in this free agency, like, constantly. Hasn't happened yet, so I'm kind of in the same boat. No, I'm kidding. I'm interested in Suikoden because I do like older RPGs. And well, I guess this would be like a JRPG, right? I don't know, whatever the difference, because it's Japanese. But it looks pretty sick. I'm pretty excited for that remake too, because I do want to give it a shot. I've seen you stream a little bit of it. It seems right up my alley. I've also seen some other games you've been playing recently that kind of reminded me of it, like Chain Echoes.
Yeah.
So those type of games I do enjoy. And I don't have to pay like $200 for it, which is always nice. I don't have to worry about finding good emulation for it. I can just get the remaster. That's pretty sweet.
For your legal copy.
I've never done anything illegal.
But so that's the first game on my list. What do you got? What do you got for me?
So for games I'm looking forward to, I do have Street Fighter 6. Mm-hmm. I played a bit of Street Fighter 5. I wasn't like the biggest fan of it in the world, but I did get my enjoyment out of it. I made it to Silver League. It's probably my greatest achievement of all time in my entire life, next to winning a Guitar Hero tournament at a local library in 6th grade. And they never gave me my Best Buy gift card. So
hold on.
Yeah.
How many kids entered that?
I think like 6.
Okay. All right.
And it was on easy difficulty too.
Oh no.
With items on. And let me just say here, I could play on expert, so I was kind of bummed, but I won. And they're like, hey, if you want to go to the next level, let us know. We're going to have a bigger tournament like for the whole county. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Never got the invite, never got my Best Buy gift card, so I'm still a little salty about that, if I'm being
honest.
you were
scammed.
I'm pretty positive. I mean, I was just kicking dudes' butts at the library for no reason. I could just do that online.
That's an interesting tournament.
I've been looking for another Guitar Hero, like guitar. Those things are expensive. Have you seen them have you ever like looked up Guitar Hero guitars on eBay before?
Yeah, they're like $150.
It's fucking insane. Yeah, and I threw mine out like before I moved. I threw my guitar. I'm like, I could just get another one. I'm sure it's like really cheap. Biggest regret of all time.
I made that. So once they said they weren't making them anymore, the Guitar Hero games, we decided to have like a little farewell like rock concert thing. You know, we had Rock Band at the time, so we were happy, and we all smashed our Guitar Hero guitars.
It's like
$100
$100 you just threw away.
Yeah, well, I realize that now, but they weren't making them anymore, and we were playing Rock Band, so we're like, Rock Band's gonna continue forever, and it did not either.
No.
So yeah, looking back, probably a pretty dumb mistake, dumb error on my part.
I think two of my biggest gaming mistakes would be selling my entire 3DS collection for the Switch. Not that I'm not happy with my Switch and I haven't got my time out of it, but some of those 3DS games, like the prices of them have skyrocketed. And I'm just like so mad I didn't just save up a little bit and wait to get the Switch. That and the selling and just throwing out my Guitar Hero guitar. So
Yeah.
can't win them all.
Yeah. No, not at all. What's got you excited about Street Fighter 6?
I think I just really like the art style of it. It seems like so like it kind of reminds me of like a 90s like hip hop video. It's got like the graffiti and all that. Like it's like really stylish, almost kind of Third Strike-ish with the like the style of it and like the characters. And it seems like they've just put a lot more like care into it and how it looks. I thought that Street Fighter 5 just looked really clunky. Like even the character models, they looked really blocky and like kind of just ugly. Like there weren't a whole lot of characters I was like, oh man, they look sick. I mean, there were some obviously, but not a whole lot. But this one here, like one of my favorite characters is Dalsim. Like the way he like stretches and moves and like bends is so freaking cool. So I think he looks really cool in this one.
I agree. That kind of turned me off on Street Fighter 5.
Yeah,
a little bit. Everybody was like roided up, like super roided up, and it was just
like Drago.
Yeah, and it was just kind of hard to get into. It felt like slower than the other Street Fighters, and I kind of fell off playing it. And then you and I played, and you beat me about 25 times in a row.
Yep.
And it further cemented that I'm never going to play this any more than I want to. But I can say that I'm just as pumped for Street Fighter 6 for sure.
Yeah, and they have like a cool story mode too, which looks like a lot of fun. The story mode in 5 was like so cringy. It was awful. Like honestly, I didn't like us. I was like hating every second of it. But this one looks like a lot more fun. It's got kind of like an open world element. I've kind of stayed away from most trailers other than like the character reveals.
Right.
I want to be a little bit kind of surprised on it. Not that it's gonna be a deep story or anything, but I just want to kind of go into it with fresh eyes, I guess. But it seems like they've put a lot more care and attention into it, even with like the online lobbies too. They've got like waiting rooms where you can play against like certain people.
The arcades.
The arcades, yeah. It seems like maybe I remember this incorrectly, but I believe they have like older arcade cabinets you can play. So like older Street Fighter games you can play against friends. That's really cool. Now I do have some concerns about that because I am kind of worrying that you're going to be waiting for a long period of time in the lobby for your next match. I think we talked about that in the last podcast, kind of similar to Riders Republic. But I mean, who knows? We'll see. I just need one of those beta codes to hook me up.
Yeah. Hey, send us a beta code.
Right.
Send 2 actually, not just 1, please.
Those.
Here's
two
the
in
thing:
Spanish.
the difference between the lobbies is this is Street Fighter, right? So every fighting game aficionado is going to be playing this, right? Riders Republic, I think there's a lesser crowd there, so you're going to wait longer. Update on that game, by the way, played more. Did try. I was like, maybe the multiplayer was a fluke. No, still took me. I recorded a video. It took me about 6.5 minutes.
Wow.
For me to cancel. I'm trying to find a game because I was like, I don't want to do this. Here's a quick question while we're on the topic of fighting games. Do you think story is important?
Not at all. Honestly, I think it comes down to the gameplay because that's what people like stick around and play it for. But it's cool to have that too, like especially if you just want to kind of jump into it and have some fun for like kind of newer players. I think for a lot of people, fighting games are, including myself, like just too hard. Maybe I just suck, which is part of it. But it takes a lot of effort and kind of research and practice to get good at fighting games. So if you want to have people try out a game and kind of see if they like it or not, I think having a good story mode is pretty important. I mean, if you look at like Mortal Kombat, they have I know the story mode's not like the best, but a lot of people play it for like the single player story mode, and I think that kind of has allows them to have a bigger audience than like like a Guilty Gear, for example.
Yeah, and I agree. And I'm also triggered on thinking of Mortal Kombat story mode. This last one, you get to this final boss. I can't remember her name, but out of all the Mortal Kombats ever, I went undefeated story mode, right? I won every single match, get to this final boss, and she beats me straight for like 2 straight hours. Like, honest to goodness, I could not beat her at all. I was like, I had no issue. And it kind of detracted from the whole experience. I'm like, this is kind of cool watching the story, getting to know these characters a little bit. And then I got to there, and then I just was not having fun because the difficulty just turned on its head. All of a sudden, it just made me so mad. And when I beat it, I didn't feel accomplished. I just felt, thank God that's over.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's hard to find that balance of like hard enough where it's a good challenge to try to overcome it, but then it's also like sometimes too hard where it's just like impossible and it turns people off of it. And I think that's probably what you ran into there.
Yeah, and this is just on like normal difficulty. By the way, just remembered that Mortal Kombat 12 is coming out this year. So we're going to get Street Fighter 6 and Mortal Kombat 12 in the same year. Oh, and Tekken 8.
Oh, that's true. Tekken 8. Yeah, I was watching some trailers the other day. It looks pretty cool, too. That's another game that I'm, like, just terrible at, but it's really fun because I feel like I can button mash and get away with some stuff, at least against people who don't know how to play. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, you kind of proved that in Street Fighter against me. Like, I was a button masher, and I could not go up against you because you knew, like, you're pretty familiar with the game. You knew some combos and stuff like that, and I was just mashing, trying to get lucky. I think I only won one round. So Mortal Kombat is that game that I can mash some buttons and win. And same with Tekken. Cannot do that in Street Fighter to save my life. So
yeah, I think that's kind of the thing with a lot of 2D fighters, maybe not including Mortal Kombat, is you can't just button mash and get, make your way through it and win some match. I mean, you could against someone who's really bad, but if you're playing anyone who's been playing for a little bit or has a little bit of experience in the game, button mashing just does not work. And that's why, like, I think they struggle gaining an audience with the majority, because I'm sure a lot of people would love to play a game like Guilty Gear, but it's got a pretty big barrier of entry because it's so hard to beat like good players if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you need an hour and a half long combo to win the match.
Yeah, and just good game knowledge too. Like, you have to know like what moves are safe, what moves aren't safe. Like, it's same thing for your opponent too. Like, if they whiff this move, like, is it safe to attack them? Like, if you don't know that stuff, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, and that, man, that's a lot of dedication to a game, which is fine if you do it, but kind of discouraging for newbies like me. Like, I love fighting games, Mortal Kombat and stuff like that, but it's hard to get into the online scene and then just get demolished. And that leads me to this here. Are you glad that they only come out like every few years compared to like a yearly Street Fighter?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think it's if you're gonna jump into a fighting game, I think the best thing to do is to jump into it when it first comes out, because it's when everyone is learning the game. So maybe for my sake, for someone who's not good at fighting games, if they came out with one every year, it might help my cause a little bit because I'd be kind of at that same level as everyone else. But I do like how it's like over time they add more characters, more stages, things like that. That's always kind of neat.
I think sports games should take a cue from that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I was just playing WWE 2K23 review up on don'treviveyourfriends.com. Wink.
Nice plug.
Recently, and it's the same as last year, just with an updated roster. Not a bad thing, because the game last year was great. But it's like the people who paid last year are essentially paying for a $70 roster update.
Yeah, you'd be better off just having it as like a monthly, hopefully maybe not monthly, like a yearly subscription of like $20. Like, hey, we'll update the rosters and do a little bit of gameplay tweaks each year, so you have the most current roster, instead of releasing a full $70 game.
Yeah, I think if you give the development team an extra year, that's where the innovation comes from, right? Instead of cramming, like, this game is already complete, right? They're already building 2K24, right? They're already doing that now. So they're taking everything they have now, and they got to get it out in 11 and a half months from now. Which, that's crazy to me. How is there enough
probably
time?
Even less, too, to be honest, because they have to have everything ready before then. It's probably more like 9 months, if I had to guess.
And how do you innovate? How do you come up with new features? How do you do that in the middle of that process? Now, imagine if you had a year and 9 months, right?
That'd probably help.
That would probably help. The WWE games, the newer ones last year and this year, are not bad by any means, but they can take a cue from like Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat and come out every 4 or 5 years maybe, and man, you can see some real improvement there. And then, like you said, maybe every once a year have a big roster update. Drop a few new characters in this one until the next one comes out. I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so as well. The only problem is there's, so much money to be had if they just release one every year. So I don't think it'll ever happen. But we can dream.
Business.
Business.
So moving on from our extensive fighting game talk there. Gonna switch gears, and I'm gonna jump into another game that I'm excited for this year, which is Diablo 4. Have you played any of the Diablo games?
I actually have not. I've watched people play it. I'm not the biggest fan of those style of games, but I know that they are a really addicting game to play. People love them.
Yeah. Diablo 2 came out when I was a youngin', and I played a lot of it. Yeah, a very long time ago. And I played it on PC often. And like you mentioned, addictive it is, because you're constantly gaining new loot and finding new levels, finding new dungeons. And I did play Diablo 3 2 years ago on PlayStation, and it was freaking awesome. It just reminded me of those days. And Diablo 4 looks super crisp. The graphics look awesome. I'm freaking stoked to jump back in and go looting in some dungeons. And,
is that coming out on every system?
I do believe so. I'm probably going to get it on PlayStation 5 because that is the highest tier console I have. I have an Xbox Series S, and it shows the comparisons between PS5 and Series S. PS5 wins because of the sheer power of it. But yeah, it's probably coming to Switch, I believe, too. Don't quote me on that, but I would assume it would. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Nice. I wish I could speak more on it. I just haven't really played too much of Diablo. I know like how it works and everything, but when is that coming out this year?
Sometime this year.
Nice.
I don't have an exact date. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I just know it's coming out. The beta is starting soon, or has started. There's a beta going on right now, I believe, and so that probably means within the next few months, Diablo 4. I'm assuming June, because a lot of games are coming out in June. So what else you got? What else you got on the list?
Well, as far as games coming out here pretty soon, actually it just came out as a Metroid Prime, the remaster for GameCube that's on the Switch. I believe I talked about this in the last podcast. I played it briefly on the GameCube, but I'm really looking forward to giving this one a shot. I don't own it yet. I know that there were some issues with the physical copies being sold out pretty quickly, and some scalpers were like reselling it online for like double the price or something. From what I understand, they did restock it, so I'm gonna probably check like Best Buy at some point and pick it up. I just really like I really enjoy Metroid games. They're really fun, and this is one I have not played, so definitely want to give it a shot.
What kind of joy do you think people get out of just scalping shit?
Money, Sean.
Yeah. But people always say money doesn't buy you happiness, right? So you're stealing happiness from people for monetary gain, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty scummy. I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I get why people do it. I personally wouldn't ever do it.
Like all these bots that remember the PlayStation 5 and the Series X? Like, I feel like I need a bot just to buy the console. Just let me buy it. Like, can I get a bot that let me buy it? Jeez, that's crazy.
I had to steal my PlayStation 5 from a grandma.
Well,
I'm kidding.
Felonies are not cool here. No, I'm just... Yeah, it reminds me of a quote from a movie. Let me know out there if anybody's ever heard this. The quote is, I had to skin a 9-year-old for this board. It's from a movie, Grind. Watch it. It's one of my favorite movies. It's about skateboarding. Yeah.
Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, it was Footloose. Yeah, he had to skin a 9-year-old for his dancing shoes.
I knew it. That's was that no? I almost said Danny DeVito, John Travolta in Footloose, right?
Good gracious!
I know that was Grease, right?
It was Grease. Yeah.
I don't really like musicals. I'm being honest. Explosions and musicals, not a fan.
We're gonna just keep finding out things you don't like, and we need to combine that. We need to make a video game of all the things you don't like so far. Explosions and musicals.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a game in mind for that, and it's a Saints Row game called Gat Out of Hell. There's explosions and musical numbers.
Oh, I would hate it. I would hate that game.
I might stream it just so you can get a visual on it.
I'm gonna be sick that day.
It's not good. It's
Wait, it's already out?
Oh yeah, it's been out
when
for
did
a few
it come
years. 2018 maybe. Yeah, it's like a 10-hour campaign, probably, with really annoying mechanics where you have to fly and capture all these orbs, and there's like 600 orbs or something like that. It's but yeah, you have to fight the devil. You break out in song, and shit blows up. So, right up your alley.
Yeah, I'd hate every second of it. I don't know what it is about musicals. I don't like that kind of music. It's just too corny. Like, why is everyone dancing? Like,
So would you prefer a hip-hop musical?
No, I think that'd be even worse.
That would.
Can you imagine just a
be
bunch of
really
white people trying to write some hip-hop musical stuff? Oh, my God. In Hollywood, Jesus.
Well, High School Musical kind of had that with Zac Efron, so...
Get your head in the game.
Yeah.
Dude, that song is a banger, though. Take it back.
Yeah.
If I could do some crossovers like the guys in that musical, I'd be snatching cankles out there in the courts. They were getting into it.
None of them had any good moves at all.
What do you mean? They had some good in and out dribbles and a couple like some hezzies.
You know what it reminded me of? Do you remember those like old Nike commercials where they would just like bounce the balls to a beat?
Like the Christmas one?
Yeah. There was a Christmas one, and then there was just like they were trying to sell their Nike apparel.
You know what? I was watching a And One documentary. Remember And One?
Yeah.
And they were like the shit for a while there because they had like the street ball market, and that ad like really like kind of caught them off guard because they were going for that more like a street ball like aesthetic, and they were pretty pissed about it because they're like, "Yo, we have this market," and that was kind of like the start of the end of. And one. I mean, that wasn't like the only. There was a bunch of other like financial decisions and them kind of just dropping the ball on it. But
pun intended.
Pun intended. It was pretty interesting to see how much that ad like kind of like pissed those guys off at And One.
Yeah, and not to isolate a lot of people here, but this
documentary
is on Netflix, and it is really good to watch. But you're right. Yeah, that they kind of stole it in a way and got ahead of And One and just destroyed them. There was an And One video game.
Really? Is the professor in it? The professor.
I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was not good. It was trying to compete with like NBA Street and stuff.
NBA Street was good. There's another one called like NBA Ballers, like for PS2. That one's pretty good.
You know, I watched this guy recently on YouTube playing through all the like EA Sports Big game catalogs.
I think that same one came with my recommended, by the way.
It was pretty good, but he kind of shit on NBA Street Home Court. Do you remember that one? It was on the 360 and PlayStation 3.
I do. It was kind of like the graphics were kind of like too realistic. It looked a little weird.
They were they were too realistic, but I loved that game. I think that was like one of the first games that I 100%ed on the 360.
Really?
Yeah, I just found it so addictive because I was a big fan of like NFL Street, NBA Street, even FIFA Street. I didn't like the FIFA games, but FIFA Street was really cool. It was like a realistic like Mario Strikers.
Yeah, that game was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I need to play that one for 360. I'll pick it up and play it on stream.
Do you think they're going to bring anything like that back? They tried Blitz like 10, 15 years ago.
They did. They also had that one called like, I don't know if you remember this. It was on the Xbox Arcade. It was like Madden Arcade.
Oh,
Did you ever play that
yeah.
one? That one was a lot of fun. It had like power ups. It was basically like a Mario game, but like football. I don't think they'll do anything like that. I think there's just too much money to be had with just like 2K and Madden. I don't think they're ever going to try something different.
Because Madden tried to add in that mode.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen it. I can't remember what it's called because I haven't actually like played in a Madden game. But like everybody's in their kind of like backyard outfit. And they go, but it's basically just Madden. There's nothing different other than the aesthetics. There's nothing too different about it, yeah. Yeah, and I kind of miss those. Like, I love, NBA 2K, WWE 2K, and stuff like that. But there's a certain charm to those arcadey, get in and just a fast-paced game. And I kind of miss that.
Well, you saw me stream Baseball Stars 2 the other night.
Yeah.
That's like a perfect example of a really fun arcadey sports game that really anyone could play, but was still a sports game. That game is so much fun. It's kind of a shame we don't really have a whole lot of games like that out there. I mean, I know there are a few arcadey baseball games out there, but not enough.
Yeah, because there was a few years where those were the only sports games. Mm-hmm. Even if you think of something like Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
Right? Not realistic at all. And it's just fun. And if you were to ask me any day, and no offense to Skate or anything like that, or Sessions or Skate XL or anything like that.
Extra large.
Yeah, if you just want to play a skateboard game, which one? And I would always think Tony Hawk. Like,
yeah,
I just want to get in. Like, if you had 20 minutes to play a skate game, what do you want? Oh, yeah, Tony Hawk.
Yeah, Underground's probably my go-to for that.
Yeah, you just get in and you do some crazy shit and then you get out, right? And I think it's an enjoyable experience. Sometimes I think simulation is like too much. It's too real because it can get overly complicated.
And that's actually pretty true with a lot of sports games, like Madden, for example. I remember I have this vivid memory of playing against my dad in Madden 03 for the GameCube. Mm-hmm. He chose the 72 Dolphins. For those of you who don't know, that's the only team to ever go undefeated. And he ran the same play every single time. It was just a run up the gut, but he was able to actually play it. Like, I could never imagine trying to teach him the controls for like a modern Madden game. You know what I mean?
Oh, goodness. Yeah, you couldn't.
No.
And stuff like, I think of UFC, like 4, which just came out. Now, a lot of these games are adding modes. Like UFC 4 has a mode where you can just stand up.
Oh, a stand and bang. Yeah, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the ground at all because, like I said, sometimes it gets too complicated. Like, you'll get knocked to the ground, and then you have to hold the right stick a certain way, and then the left stick a certain way, and then you got to hold L1 and the right stick. And by the time you're doing that, you're getting choked out.
Yeah.
Right? So they're adding these modes that kind of do make or mix realism in arcade where you just stand and punch, and it's like, yeah, do that. But if you're Madden, like, add in an arcadey mode. Don't just put your characters in like street clothes and be like, hey, we're street now. Like, no, just change it up, make it fun, because man, what I would give for another Blitz that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, that'd be so much fun.
Then now they tried a Mutant League football a few years back, and it was just bad.
Too gory. I don't know.
Well, not even just too gory. The gameplay itself was just terrible, and the difficulty, even on the lowest difficulty, was like a fighting game. It was just impossible to do anything. You couldn't do anything. It was nuts.
I think actually Nintendo does have the best like just pick up and play ability compared to like a lot of other consoles and systems out there. Like, there's so many games I would love to like play with my brothers, but I would have to teach them all the controls and stuff. Like, it's so much easier just to like pull a Mario Party or something on the Switch. Maybe that's a topic for another podcast, just like the kind of accessibility in games. But I feel like it kind of ties into what we're talking about, how like the barrier of entry for so many games is pretty tough. It's like trying to fight Drago.
yeah. The game will break you in this game.
The game will fucking break you.
Because, there are a lot of complicated ones. And even if you, like, just look at it and be like, yeah, I could do that. And then you start playing it, you're overwhelmed. Like, you ever see those guys that play those, like, spacecraft simulators, and they have, or mech simulations, and they have those, like, big desks and chairs just full of buttons? Like, no, I just want to press X and make him jump.
Yeah.
like that's it. Don't try and get me to learn. There was a game, I gotta remember the name of this game, where the controller was like $170. It was just a full-on mech like controller. If anybody remembers that, let me know, because my goodness, that was crazy. I remember seeing that, and I would never play it.
Right, it's just too much to learn. Yeah. And imagine trying to like get someone else to play with you or against you or something. Like they'd be like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, no, and then it just wouldn't be fun for anybody.
I'm gonna quickly go back to Street Fighter 6. I know I'm jumping around here, but
You're
Street
fine.
Fighter 6, I think they have a mode where it kind of allows like easier combos. So if you just like mash like XXX, it gives you like a certain combo that you would have to normally do with like different button entries. But that's pretty cool. Just want to throw that out there.
If there's a ranked mode with that, you know what I mean? Where like you can have a lower skill level, like for someone like me, I would be in absolute heaven, like doing that. Because even if you do that, you're just pressing XXX and it unleashes this like, 7 to 15 hit combo or something like that. You still feel really good about it.
I hope they don't allow that, so you just have to fight me with the hard controls and lose every time. So I feel good about myself after losing to you in UFC.
Well, I will make sure you're banned from video games. So,
well,
let's reel it back here a little bit and go because there's a game I kind of want to talk about real quickly, which is Final Fantasy 16, which I'm excited for this year. Back to the RPGs just for a quick second. If you're out there and you don't know what Final Fantasy 16 is, there were 15 before this. Go ahead and look those up.
I feel like there's more than that. I think you're lying.
None of them are connected. You are actually right. I think there's like 30 Final Fantasy games with the spin-offs included. And we're including Chocobo Dungeon in that.
And Tactics.
And Tactics, yes. There's Tactics as well. There's Chocobo Dungeon. There's Chocobo GP, which is like Mario Kart, but for Chocobos.
Nice.
Which just came out. But yeah, it just looks really cool. I'm a fan of the switch from turn-based to action. And I've been a fan of that ever since like Kingdom Hearts. And then Final Fantasy 15 tried it. And it was great. And now the remakes of Final Fantasy 7 did it, and it was fine. And Crisis Core is great. So keep them coming, Square, and I will keep playing. It looks good. That's on my list.
Yeah, Square has been releasing a lot of really great RPGs lately.
And bad ones.
And bad ones. Yeah, there have been some
Forsaken.
duds for sure.
Do not play Forsaken.
Yeah, is that the one with the talking arm? That's like a Marvel movie, like the delivery of the lines.
Yeah, it's kind of like. And
it's got explosions, right?
Nothing against the voice actors in Forsaken, or is it Forsaken or Forspoken? Forspoken. So nothing against the voice actors in the game. They were working with what they got, but unfortunately the writing was just really bad. And I watched a complete playthrough of the game because the person I was watching was suffering, and misery loves company. So I just suffered along with them, and it was terrible. And I hated every second of it. But
yeah, I don't think that game had the best reception. I just remember seeing clips on Twitter of people kind of mocking the dialogue of the game. Now I don't know much about the gameplay itself. I don't know if that was any good, but I know that the biggest problem with it that most people had it seemed was the dialogue and how cheesy it was.
The combat was pretty cool. The world itself was empty. Huge open world, but there was no reason to go anywhere and explore because it was all kind of the same stuff, and then the loot wasn't worth your time. And yeah, it's unfortunate games like that are getting released now, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, so hopefully Final Fantasy 16 breaks that. Maybe that's where all their money and effort went to. I can only hope. But yeah, let's get that out there.
Yeah.
Anything else on your list?
This is not a new game, but it's coming out on the Nintendo Switch Online. That'd be Golden Sun for GBA.
Oh, yes.
That's another game that has escaped me. I've never had the chance to play it. And I'm looking forward to giving it a shot on the Switch, and not have to pay a pretty penny for it on eBay for the physical game of it. So I am looking forward to playing that. I know you've played quite a bit of it. I've never had the chance to try it.
It's a blast. It really is. And it's one of those when you play it, even if you've never played it before, it kind of brings you back to those GBA days. Instantly this is a Game Boy Advance game, and it just feels right. It's It's really cool. I've played it. Obviously, when it came out, I had it on Game Boy Advance. I played a lot of that. I've played it on totally legal emulators later down the road. And every time, it's just a joy. I haven't played the sequels to it, but it's just a really good game. Typical
it's a super
story,
long game, though, right?
It's pretty long, yeah. But it's not Persona long.
Right, like 100 out, yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of up there. I think it's like 40, 50, maybe?
It's a little bit more doable.
Yeah. But for a Game Boy Advance game, that's a long time.
It is, yeah. And that's why I'm kind of looking forward to playing it on the Switch, so I can just like pause it at any time and close it and come back to it.
Yeah.
With the quick save feature and stuff.
Playing games in the bathroom, yes or no?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah, you got to.
All the time.
Right? Yeah, the Switch goes in there with me, or Game Pass on my phone. I gotta pass the time. Plus, I'm in there hiding often, so.
Yeah. No, I'm always doing that, so.
Gotta do.
It's the best form of entertainment, exactly.
Golden Sun, for those of you who have not played it, I have played it multiple times, and I highly recommend it. When is that? Did they give a release for that on Switch Online?
No, they just dropped Metroid Fusion.
Ooh, great game.
On the that's another great one on the Switch Online for GBA. I don't know the exact date yet, but I'm assuming that should be one of the next ones. Cause I think it was like that Fire Emblem, like F-Zero for GBA. So I don't think there's a huge list of games coming up. So I think it should be pretty soon. Like definitely by I think the end of the summer for sure.
Nice. Yeah, if they brought that out right before summer started, it'd be a perfect summer game to get through. To be honest. Or the start of winter. Stay inside and play Golden Sun and dream of summer again.
There you go. Golden Suns.
Now, in the same vein as that, this other game on my list, Sea of Stars.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of looks like Chained Echoes. Kind of looks like Golden Sun. Kind of looks like Suikoden. Is it another RPG like those games? Yes. But it's coming out soon. It's going to be on PlayStation and Switch, I believe.
Nice.
It was slated for Xbox, but they had some issue with it, and they took Xbox off of the list. But then they said, "Hey, we're going to get it to all consoles still." So,
nice.
Xbox people, you're still in luck there. I'm really excited. Obviously, the graphical style is one of my favorites. And it's got a guest composer who did Chrono Trigger and Chrono Cross.
Oh, there you go.
So instantly, I am sold. So nostalgia
it's fun.
all around.
It's funny you mentioned Chrono Trigger because that's actually one of the games that I do in the... it's kind of on my backlog / games I'm looking forward to playing this year. And that would be Chrono Trigger. I just never had the chance to play it or really... I didn't have a Super Nintendo growing up. I know they had a DS release as well, but I never had the chance to actually play this one. So another RPG that I need to find some time to play, which from what I understand is not a super long game, which is nice.
Yeah, it's not crazy long. It's pretty easy to get into. It's got a cool story, and one of the characters' theme songs is definitely not confirmed, but definitely Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a frog, and when you hear his theme, it's exactly the same thing. So
they did it a little bit with the Super Nintendo. A lot of songs in certain games had kind of like homages to real life songs. I remember Earthbound had a couple that were basically just like Blues Brothers ripoffs and like random surf songs and things like that. It's funny how they did that back then.
And it's kind of crazy now because if you think about it, a lot of artists are taking like samples from games and putting it in their music now, which is pretty
Lil
cool.
Yachty had a Mario 64 sample on one song on his Little Boat mixtape.
Drake.
Speaking of mixed.
Oh, go ahead.
Really quickly, speaking of mixtapes, did you hear datpiff.com is closing down?
No.
Yeah, sad day. Anyway,
Wow.
I know this is a gaming podcast, but I had to throw it out there. I was bummed when I read that.
That is
datpiff.com.
That's been a long time coming, I'm assuming.
Yeah. I just saw that the on Twitter the other day. I'm like, oh no, so many great mixtapes on there.
Yeah, that's been around for quite some time. My goodness.
Yep.
A shame. An icon in the internet world for sure.
datpiff.com.
But yeah, a lot of artists did that too. Drake has a Donkey Kong sample in one of his songs, which I think is pretty cool. I love seeing that. I love hearing that. I'm that person who, when I hear something that I've heard from something else, I have to figure out what it was.
Yep.
And when it's a game, I get even more excited. Like, there was a band that I used to listen to called Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, and they have a song called Cat and Mouse, which has something extremely similar to Suikoden. Like,
is it a sample, or is it just like
it's not
close
a
to it?
sample, but it's note for note for like a good 8 seconds, and that's enough for me to be like, I've heard this, I know what this is from, this guy has played this game, and he put it in a song. I know it. Like, it's...
Did they ever confirm that?
No. And I've never looked into it, but it's too much to be, a coincidence. It's the exact same thing. Maybe I'll put it on the maybe we should write an article or something like that and just find comparisons from games to music. I think that would be kind of cool.
Video games sampled. Xavier Wolf, if there's any underground rap fans out there, sampled Silent... Well, he didn't. His producer sampled Silent Hill in a couple of his tracks, so...
Nice.
That was pretty cool. Maybe I could definitely... That'd actually be a pretty fun thing to talk about or to write about. It would just be different video game samples in rap songs.
Yeah, we can do a comparison, like show the video game form and then show the song that took it out of there, which would be pretty
Pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Any other games on your list?
It's kind of a weird one. I want to platinum Death Stranding.
Okay.
I'm not a huge person to try to platinum games, but I really do enjoy Death Stranding. I've been meaning to go back and like try to 100% it. A lot of walking involved to get that done, but I do want to do that at some point this year.
How close are you?
Not very close. Not at all.
That's fair.
But I just want, it's just an accomplishment I want to try to hit. Something about that game, I just like. It's not a very fun game. I just love the atmosphere of it.
That's what most people say. Right now, I've never personally played more than 20 minutes of it. But it was one of those situations where I'm going to play this. I have full intentions to play this, and then just never did. But the majority of people I've talked to, yourself included, just say that it's not great, but there's just something. It just has a thing like about it, like being in there, in the game.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like Norman Reedus or like the music that plays in the background when you discover new areas, or just like the overall like aesthetics of it. It just like draws you in. Now the gameplay itself, I'm not like the biggest fan of, but I don't know, something about the characters too, and I like just the weirdness of it. And Guillermo del Toro.
Oh yeah,
it's awesome.
Just won an Oscar, by the way, for Pinocchio.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Hey, what's that Pinocchio game that's coming out? Like, did you see that? It's like The Life of P or something. Not to be confused with Push and P.
The Life of... Is that Pinocchio, or isn't that a book? The Life of...
I could have sworn there was like a...
Because there was a movie a long time ago.
Jamie, pull that shit up.
Where he's on like a raft, right?
I could have sworn there was like a Pinocchio game coming out for PS5. It was kind of like, not Borderlands-y, Bloodborne.
Borderlands Pinocchio would be kind of awesome.
It was like a Bloodborne Pinocchio. We need a fucking Jamie here. Come on. It was like a Bloodborne Pinocchio game. I could be way off base here, but...
Wow. A Souls-like Pinocchio game.
I'm
going to look that up right after this because I'm very intrigued. I do like Souls games. I just started playing the PlayStation Plus free game, Code Vein, which is like an anime Souls game. And it's fun.
That's pretty cool. Oh, I found out what it was.
What is it?
Lies of P.
Lies of P. Okay.
I think the P stands for penis. No, Pinocchio.
So, and it's an actual Souls Pinocchio.
I don't know about the Souls part of it. I could be completely making that up, but The Lies of P is an action RPG based on the classic tale of Pinocchio. Play as Pinocchio and solve mysteries and disaster that happened in the city of Krat. K-R-A-T. Krat.
Interesting. When does it come out?
Tomorrow. That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you.
Well, I haven't even seen anything on it, and I want to play it.
I have an answer. August 2023.
Okay. Birthday month for me. I know what I'm getting. Pinocchio Souls.
Push and P.
Push and P. Perfect. I think, I'm looking at my list here. I only have one more on here that I want to touch base. Minecraft Legends coming out next month.
Ooh.
April.
Minecraft.
Yeah, not I'm still not entirely sure what it is. Just like you're on the overworld and you're constantly on a mount, and then it's like a strategy type game for Minecraft. But I really loved Minecraft Dungeons, which is like a lighthearted Diablo. And anything Mojang and Microsoft and all those guys do is just fantastic. So Minecraft Story Mode was really good. So I'm looking forward to Minecraft Legends.
Nice. I need to play Dungeons. That one looks like a lot of fun.
It's pretty good. It's free on PlayStation right now.
Nice.
It's one of the PlayStation Plus games. So snag it. We could do Don't Revive Your Friends Minecraft Dungeon stream one day.
Hey, there you go.
There we go. It's really fun. It really is.
Nice.
Anything else? What else you got? Nothing?
Can I do a backlog one?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have ever heard of this one. Let's see if I'm pronouncing this right. NBA 2K8 for Xbox 360. I bought it off eBay because I wanted to hear the soundtrack from it. Sure, I could have looked it up on YouTube, but I want the goddamn physical game. It was $3 on eBay, so I'm gonna play some 2K8 and reminisce about the first ever 2K game I ever played.
That was the first one. 2K8.
Yeah, 2K. I started with 2K8.
Wow.
I was an NBA Live fan before that. For whatever reason, we just picked this one up, and let me just say, I have converted many people to 2K. Back in the day, people were still playing Live, and I'm like, yo, you got to check out this 2K game. And so I think I deserve to get some sort of compensation for that. I mean, all 2K has really given me is just fucking cheat me over with VC and taking Beasley out of the free agency. So I'm not happy.
Yeah, they've got a lot of VC out of you.
Yeah, god damn.
I think the first 2K game I played was NBA 2K. So there you have it. I'm old. Yeah, on the Dreamcast, man. I had NFL 2K. I had NBA 2K. And I loved them. They were so much fun. And in NFL 2K, I would just turn all the penalties off and then go off sides and wait.
Nice.
And as soon as the ball was snapped, I would just sack the shit out of the quarterback. And I loved it.
Reach out to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, see if he wants to implement those rules into the XFL.
Yeah, just turn offsides off, guy. It's just the flick of a slider there.
Yeah.
I think more people
would
watch
love to
it.
see that, yeah.
No penalties. How would you even try? You couldn't try. There's no way.
You'd have to run some like trick plays. You'd have to like run some trick plays and like have like a oval of defenders guarding the quarterback or something.
So I think you know what it should be? It should be 3 seconds after the ball is set. Any of the corners can run offsides.
It's like when you play pickup football with friends. You have to count to 3 before you rush the quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or then you get 1 blitz for 4 downs. Blitz.
Yeah.
You ever doing that?
Yeah. All the time.
We used to run like fake blitzes. I'd be like, Schmitz! And then I'd catch them off guard.
Oh my gosh. Kids, go outside. Play some
I know.
stuff.
Fuck. Go outside.
God. Let us play the games. You enjoy your
fat
childhood.
now. I'm fat.
Yeah. My knees could not do that at all anymore. Well, I think that's all I have in terms of my list here.
Yeah, that's all I got for right now.
So I think next time maybe we'll have some comparisons, maybe to games and music if we get around to it, and maybe we can talk about a few of those, or we'll figure something out, and we'll bring joy to your ear holes the next time on the Don't Revive Your Friends podcast. By the way, Hangtime, where can people find your stream?
YouTube, Hangtime. We'll put it in the description. I'm going to be streaming mostly on YouTube. Just kind of some random games. I might be streaming some 2K8 if you're a fan of that. Also some Smash, maybe some Baseball Stars 2, games like that.
Nice. And look out for us on the official Don't Revive Your Friends Twitch as well as YouTube. There will be streams on both of those. And don't forget to visit the website, www.don'treviveyourfriends.com. Until next time, don't revive your friends. See ya.
Deuces.